I was
And
gonna
that's
say,
why they're called pants.
I'm always ready, but we both know that shit ain't true. I often start before I'm ready.
We both can't be not ready. That doesn't work. So by default, you have to
And
be ready.
and yet here we are.
Oh yeah. I hope chat's ready.
By the way, chat, there's a new feature. You can see yourselves on the screen now. Behave, or I'll have to take it down. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I'm your host, Monkey. He's Jack. Say hi, Jack.
Hi everybody.
Jack, how the hell you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm all right. Doing my thing. How you doing?
I'm bad.
Oh yeah.
But I want to tell this story because it's actually humorous to me. I woke up yesterday and I was feeling really good. Like really good. My lower back pain that I've been dealing with for like the last week and a half was gone. And I felt nice, just my normal pain. And as the day wore on, and it's almost a little bit more depressing when it happens
Oh,
that way.
hang on. You had audio
Oh,
ducking. As the day
sorry.
went on.
As the day went on, my body was like, "No, I'm just kidding." And and it's almost a little bit more depressing that way because if you just wake up in pain and it's just pain all day, like, fuck it, it's just one of those days. But the gods have a sense of humor, so they do this shit to me. And I was thinking, it's a good thing I'm a happy person because I'm not sure how I would deal with this if I was like German or Native American or female. If I had no sense of humor and no happiness in my life.
Yeah. You said the same thing twice there. German and a woman and angry natives. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm still in a really happy place. It's just, man, I was that good day, that little glimmer of hope. That's such a dick move, God. How dare you?
Well, to be fair, if you're God, it's probably pretty funny.
It probably is. It probably is.
So,
Hey,
I mean,
that's
we've gone a long way for a joke. So,
true. I actually that is the real telling of my day, but the whole tying it to Germans and women is what made me want to tell the story.
yeah, I like that.
You have to have a sense of humor. You really do. And not for things like I'm going through, Jack, just for life in general.
Yeah, life's a lot harder when you're a humorless twat. Oh, is it too early to say that?
No, we get away with twat all the time. Fuck, we got away with short bus yesterday, and I dropped a C bomb at least 3 times yesterday.
Yeah. I think you dropped the F word too, didn't you?
No, that was the day before. That one did not get monetized.
Oh, that's right. Okay, fair enough.
Whoopsie. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
these things happen.
it didn't survive review either.
It never does it? The speaking
Well,
of humorless people.
it's actually kind of funny because half the time we do get away with it. We get monetized eventually.
Well, I
So
like to think that we get either the people with a sense of humor or the ones that don't care about their jobs.
there's got to just be a bunch of people there that I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, and they're assigned to us.
Oh man, I hope so. Those are my kind of people.
Nut says rude because I said I want to make the joke about women. Yeah, but it was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah,
You
I
can
mean,
be
you've known this that we're rude for a very long time, Stargazer. You have
rude
no
is
excuses.
rude is often funny. Just saying. All right, Jack, we got to watch some Tards today.
Standing and why?
It's a day ending in Y. Why did I bring up this video?
I don't know.
Oh, that's for later. That is for later. Well, I guess start with this one. Is this the one I wanted? No, that's the wrong one. Shit, Jack. I made sure to bring up the videos and I grabbed the wrong one.
Hey, that sort of thing happens. You should blame Steve, our producer.
Well, I have a different one we can start with tonight. As you know, I hate our media, Jack.
Yes, rightfully so.
I find them to be, I was going to say borderline retarded, but no, they cross that border like a Mexican with a California address. I don't know where I was going with that.
Like a Mexican at the Rio Grande.
Yeah, like a Mexican with that cow Medi-Cal in their site. This is a breaking MSNBC report, and I watched it. Yeah, I don't think highly of these people. So when you make me go, wait, what did you just say? Because it was so dumb. That's really a feat. I have such a low opinion of our press that it's hard to shock me with how dumb they can be. Now I realize
Yeah,
I've given a lot of hype to this clip now, but trust me, it's earned.
Well, we're talking about tards, so we got Frighten Away Ralph.
There you go.
Breaking just moments ago, NBC News reporting that ICE is preparing to deploy tactical units known as Special Response Teams to 5 Democratic-run cities. Those cities, Seattle, Chicago, Philadelphia, Northern Virginia, and New York.
Is Northern Virginia a city?
No.
Oh.
There is literally no city named Northern Virginia. And that's the part that got me. I'm like, okay, city. What? The city of Northern Virginia.
What do they mean, special tactical agents? Are they arresting, like, special needs immigrants? Or... oh, no! oh, no!
The ill tardies. Yeah. I don't know. Well, here, we'll let her.
It's not clear if these raids will begin immediately, but all special response teams in those areas have been told to be ready to deploy.
So,
lady, it's a good thing you're pretty.
Why is this breaking news that immigration is rounding up illegals? I really don't get it. That's their job, right? Immigrations and Customs Enforcement.
Well, you notice what she said at the beginning, right? Listen again.
Breaking just moments ago, NBC News reporting that ICE is preparing to deploy tactical units known as Special Response Teams to 5 Democratic-run cities.
It's right there. Democratic-run cities. This is Trump trolling these people.
Yeah.
The White House put out a press release that they were going to go after Democratic-controlled cities.
What he's actually saying there is sanctuary cities.
Yeah, true.
They're all Democrat cities. Lots of cities are Democrat run. So, like, be afraid, Democrats, you fucking idiots. You pussies. That's why they're scared. They're all like, oh no, my vagina.
This is a breaking news reporter and whoever wrote her copy for her, who said 5 cities, named 4 cities and a region.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Virginia's thinking about rebelling again, and they're forming a coalition, like a mega city.
Oh, for fuck's sake, man! All right, I just had to laugh at her because that is retarded to a level that shouldn't be possible for a college-educated woman.
You would think so, but have you seen college kids these days?
I have, and she does look kind of young, if I'm being honest. So maybe she's not that out of college. Oh, here's the video I meant to start the show with. Are they, how do I put this? You know, this is going to tie in later. It doesn't help their cause. I'm talking about the media here. It doesn't help their cause when they have dumb people like that on. You're already losing your grip on things, your power that you've had for what, the better part. When does television really kick off? It starts in like the 50s, but it really kicks off what, 60s?
Probably the 50s, because you started seeing a lot of actual TV shows. Because it was around in the 30s and never really caught on because it was super expensive.
Right.
And in the 40s, they didn't have much airtime. But by the 50s, you had like most of the day programming. And that's when like you started getting actual TV shows in there, like Howdy Doody and like Donna Reed and shit like that.
And TV becomes such an important part of our lives that it's actually listed in the poverty thing where they're like, if you don't have these things, you're in poverty. And it's like color television. That's a real thing in the US. That's part of the poverty measurements.
Yeah, it's kind of pathetic because like you're so rich in other countries that you have like cable TV and a flat screen, and people living in little shanties in Malaysia are like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, I'm poor. Fuck you. My floor is literally my poop. Leave me alone.
Yeah,
Anyway, but they've had this monopoly on information since we'll say 50s. And as much as, newspaper and radio before it had an impact, nothing has had an impact like television has. So for the last 70 goddamn years, these people have had a stranglehold on our information.
hmm
And they've destroyed their credibility completely. And then they're like, here's a pretty woman. She's stupid, but you like pretty women, right?
it's true. I do like stupid pretty women.
I do too, but not to give me news.
I have a newscaster fetish, so I can't really speak to that.
Whoa, what just happened? Wrong
We
button.
got big.
There we go. I don't dislike newscasters. I'm just not going to take them seriously. We've gotten to the point that our newscasters will literally be like, and fuck you, San Diego.
Yeah, they're very, very much like Anchorman.
They are. What's his name? Ron
Burgundy.
Burgundy. That's it. Ron Burgundy. And the more we watch and the further we go down this timeline where they've lost their credibility and they're so desperate to get it back, the more they become him. It's weird. You would think that they would be like, oh, you know what? Maybe we put smart people on TV, at least try to look a little better. And they're like, nah, fuck that. Get the bimbo. People won't care what she says as long as she's pretty. And again, she is pretty. She's just dumb. All right. Speaking of dumb news, this is CNN covering a press conference. This is the second official from Los Angeles that I've seen not towing the party line.
I am deeply proud that downtown has always been the place where Angelenos from all over the city gather to peacefully protest. I support the right to demonstrate, and the mayor and I know that right is sacred, and at times it's necessary, but we must also...
Okay, so we got to stop right there because they're still like, protesting is...
I thought she was going to give a land acknowledgement.
Dick tonight. Hi, I'm back.
Hey, welcome back.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Happens.
Anyway, she was telling us how sacred the right to protest is.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, I just want to remind you, it's literally federally illegal to protest outside an abortion clinic.
Yep. But, that's the wrong kind of protest. That's the insurrection kind, not the, give us free stuff kind that they do like.
And in addition to federally illegal, most states have laws about it as well. Because the right to protest is sacred. Unless Moloch needs his tribute.
Yeah. Yeah, his monthly quota was filled.
Yeah.
Get out there and kill some babies.
Give me the black babies. Anyway.
also face what's happening right now. When these peaceful rallies end and the protesters head home, another element moves in.
Okay, stop.
Stop pretending, lady.
Where are all the peaceful protesters going? Because, Jack, there does become a point in the night where the crowd kind of thins out. We saw this in 2020 as well. If you watch the federal building, the stuff that was happening during the day, there actually was a whole new contingent that moves in about 6 o'clock. But we're not seeing that here.
No, this one doesn't have shift change. And these are mostly agitators and paid provocateurs.
Yeah, and this is the same shit that we heard during the protests back in 2016, like when they tried setting Milo on fire. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
They're like, it totally wasn't all those people that we saw there doing this stuff. It was people from off campus agitators.
Yeah, don't believe your lying eyes.
Opportunists who come in under the cover of a peaceful protest to ravage and destroy. They are ruining local small businesses, smashing storefronts, and threatening the safety of the very community that.
All right. Oh, we were listening to the Los Angeles mayor, and
CNN had to cut away there when she starts describing the crime that's been going on, the violence that our CNN anchors here are like, we don't see no problem here.
Yeah, they don't like that very much. Goes against the narrative.
Save yourself. Thank you so much for becoming a member for month number 12.
Woo.
Well, it's about 4 days late, but I turned 50. Sing for me, Monkey and Jack. Well, same year. This one's for you. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Save Yourself. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, sir. Hope you had a good one. Did you become a member on your birthday? Because that's 12 months. So I'm wondering if the first month if it was on his birthday also. That was a year ago, so I don't fucking remember.
I don't remember last week.
But I want to go back just a second on this, because this is the first time we're seeing like a public announcement where they're acknowledging the crime.
I think the police department is finally listening to their guys on the ground, and they're putting pressure on the mayor's office. Because after those guys got trapped under the underpass, I think a lot of cops were like, we're going to blue flu if you keep this shit up.
But that was 2 days ago. And even after that, they were like, there's not really much violence. No, they're out there baking cakes and having lemonade stands.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're seeing still a lot of people in the streets and a lot of violence against the police. So
I have a theory that we'll get to in a little bit.
Ooh,
I mentioned this is the second person I've seen talk like this, but that other person was giving an interview, and it was an assemblywoman out there in California in Los Angeles, and she's like, yes, there's violence going on. It needs to stop. She was taking the Fetterman side of things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we can't be encouraging this violent bullshit. Thank you, Shoehorn of Plenty. Someone that works under her was arrested today in the riots. For real?
That doesn't surprise me.
That's funny as shit. FL, thank you. I think I'll just keep listening to my lion eyes. Yeah. I don't know, man. You got pretty women on TV lying to you, or you can believe what you see, and pretty women are convincing, Jack.
They can be.
You
got a rumble rant.
Thank you, Dangerous. Whoa. So a bunch of Democrat leaders specifically told illegals to come to their cities, and for some reason, ICE has a crazy idea those might be good places to start looking for illegals. Huh. Well, it's not just that, though. You're right on that, Dangerous. But, they really are mostly targeting the criminals, the ones that Obama and Biden both told us we're going to get rid of the illegals that are committing other crimes. And then they completely ignored them. Well, if you're looking for violent offenders, you go to big cities. That's where most violent offenders are.
Yeah, ironically, they tend to go where there's a lot of victims.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, it's like a supply and demand kind of thing.
So yeah, you're right about that, about their sanctuary cities, but it's also because of the illegals that they're targeting that's leading them to those cities. All right, Jack, now it is time to look at Trump's bottom bitch and my theory of what's really going on. Why we're suddenly seeing Karen Bass issued a curfew for tonight.
What? Really?
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I haven't been following the news much today. I've been super busy laying in bed crying because my back hurt.
Sorry to hear that, bud.
No, I actually took muscle relaxers and slept most of the day. That doesn't sound as cool though. I was asleep.
There was an 8 o'clock curfew tonight, and not only was there an 8 o'clock curfew, I was watching RIT Media, and he was like, "Man, it's boring out here. Nobody's doing anything because of this. There's still people on the streets." But as I was watching, which was about 8:30 their time, so 11:30 our time, there's people blocking an intersection, and they just get into the street and they start hitting some cars, and immediately the police move in and clear them right the fuck out.
I saw I was kind of in and out today because muscle relaxers basically just make me sleep. So I wake up occasionally and look at social media. I did see that the federal building got attacked a little bit, and they fired some tear gas.
Yep.
And I guess a bunch of protesters are kind of hanging in that area, like kind of surrounding it, but nothing major because they're a bunch of pussy little cowards. Like I said, that we were talking off the air last night about this, and not to spill any secrets, but let's face it, Antifa are pussies without their friends there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So if they're not in a big mass, they're not going to do anything because they're not brave. They're not brave outside of a crowd.
Yeah, well, if we have time, we'll watch a video of one of those kind of people whose dumbass had his face on full view. He runs up and kicks a guy in the back, and the guy follows him and gets his face on camera, and he has already been identified so that this guy can go press assault charges against him. Good job, pussy. Anyway, so Jack, I have a theory, and tell me if I'm off on this.
Yeah, okay. You're asking my opinion. You know where you're going to get.
We haven't seen a turnaround of a media narrative this fast outside of Jussie Smollett. The Jussie Smollett one is a unique moment in time, though, because his story was so ridiculously outrageous.
Oh, it was so fake. Anybody that fell
Yeah.
for that, man, Monkey's got some shares in bridges.
No, it's not shares. I sell the entire bridge.
Oh, you got to sell shares. Then they have to buy more of them.
No. I have so many that there's no reason for that kind of backup. That's extra work.
A plethora of bridges?
Tons of them, just tons.
Wow.
But outside of that, we've seen stories where it's like this happened, and then a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe several months, a year, never within days.
Yeah, usually they'll just drop it and move on. And
Yeah.
then never speak of it again.
So you have Gavin out there like Trump caused all this, and you have Bass out there at least 3 separate occasions saying Trump caused.
Trump's out there causing riots. It's like, go get him. Uh-oh. Oh,
So
there he
give
is.
me bad internet. Oh, sorry. I was singing my "Fuck Joe Biden for Taking My Money" song.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I miss money. I like money.
$87 million, y'all, or $1 billion, wasn't it? To give me good internet.
Yeah, rural internet rural high-speed internet is sort of like the California train that never got built.
Yeah.
It's on paper somewhere, but there's no money going there.
Did you hear Trump call it Gavin's little train?
Yeah, I saw that reported.
Oh,
I didn't hear
fuck.
him say it, but did you hear that AI clip somebody put together of Trump saying, "If you're out protesting, you're gay. Thank you for coming out." I'll see if I can find it. It's really funny.
Anyway, to my thing here. We've never seen it this fast, and my guess is Gavin Newsom trying to do his best Trump impression. It's not working for them, and the polls have come back, and the polls are telling them you're on the wrong side of this because nothing else explains it. You have them immediately being like, "There's nothing to see here. Trump caused all of this," and then suddenly there's a curfew. Suddenly, Gavin is giving this this speech that we're about to watch, which, by the way, they fucked up. We'll get to that in a second.
Shocker.
But at the beginning of it, he goes into the, hey, people shouldn't be being violent out there, which he hasn't said yet until today. which is and before today, it was like, no, it's all Trump's fault. Anything that's going on is Trump's fault. And now he's like, you guys shouldn't be doing that shit. So my guess is they got some polling back, and it's even worse for them than that poll that they showed Karen Bass the other day.
Oh, yeah, that's possible. I mean, we said early on that they're just not getting the support on this.
Mm-mm.
So why they don't know that? Because this is not new. This is an issue that's been going on for quite a while. This is something Trump ran on.
Now, on our screen, I just want to point out, it says, democracy at a crossroads. Governor Gavin Newsom's address to California. I don't know what the fuck this has to do with democracy. Honestly, I don't. I have no idea.
Well, riot is democratic in a way because it's a bunch of people wanting to get their way.
Now, lots of people covered this and were disappointed when they cut into Gavin, because as he starts his address, there's no sound. It's completely just him talking, and you got nothing. Good job, Gavin. Joe Rogan, you are not. You need your own Janie, apparently. But we're watching it on, I forget what channel this is. Let's see. This is the National Desk. And when they pick up, he's actually talking. So,
regardless of their roots or risk.
That's where the audio starts. Regardless of their roots or risk.
That's a weird beginning.
They should have told him, stop, Gavin. Start over. They shouldn't have done it live to begin with.
No, you never do this shit live. Because it's too much could go wrong, just like this. He's in the middle of a sentence.
Yeah, and he's not taking questions from reporters or anything. He's giving a desk speech.
When he doesn't have makeup caked on, he looks kind of rough.
He looks bad, yeah. Whoops. Hey, at least I have a reason for my technical issues. Anyway.
You don't live in California.
No, I live in bumfuck Michigan.
Or risk. What's happening right now is very different than anything we've seen before.
Unless you were alive in 2020. Idiot.
I will give him that it's different than what we've seen before because the masses just aren't going with them.
Yeah, but it's just a riot. It's not. This isn't some magical new thing where they're suddenly riding unicorns into battle.
No.
He's trying to make it sound special, and it's just not.
No, it's not. It's just a smaller version of the same shit we always see.
Yeah.
On Saturday morning, when federal agents jumped out of an unmarked van near a Home Depot parking lot, they began grabbing people, a deliberate targeting of a heavily Latino suburb.
Let's see. Why would they be targeting a deliberately Latino suburb, Jack, when the majority of our illegals come from the, how do I put this? South of the border all the way down to the tippity tip of South America. It's a thinker, ain't it?
Because Trump's racist.
As Spock would say, curious.
Indeed. Seems, as Spock would say, logical. No, I think they were looking for an Asian man.
Probably. I just love the... This is him like, oh, Trump's racist. No. Literally everybody makes the jokes about going and picking up illegals at Home Depot.
Yeah. It's like, oh, the feds will never think to look there. Oh, you're a genius, Gavin.
Let's go get our day laborers.
Oh, that thing that never happens in other countries happened in Austria. Did you see that? There was a mass shooting.
No.
Yeah, like I think it was 8 people died and 12 more injured.
Damn.
Yeah. I know they either have the suspect or he died. I'm not sure which, but it happened earlier today, and I haven't really had time to look into it anymore. But yeah, pretty tragic. So if you're over there, sorry.
All right, back to this tardy boy. He's the tardy boy.
A similar scene played out when a clothing company was raided downtown. In other actions, a U.S. citizen, 9 months pregnant, was arrested.
This is true. A 9-month pregnant woman was arrested, Jack. Should we dig
if she was legally here, I bet she was released.
well,
unless she did something else.
She was released in the news there. What is this? This is Channel 4 NBC out in LA. This is her from her hospital bed. She's so traumatized. She's giving video interviews from her hospital bed.
They had us all surrounded.
Carrie Lopez talking to us from her hospital bed after agents released her and sent her home, she says, following this arrest Sunday at Hawthorne and 120th, caught on video.
See, it's true. She was arrested. You want to see why?
Was she hitting the cops?
Nope. Let's get right about here.
Citizens opened up the gate for her husband to
whoops. Back it up to about there.
Co-worker, both undocumented, to the building's private.
That's really choppy, dude.
Agents needed a warrant to enter as well.
Excuse me, ma'am. Listen to me. You're interfering with my arrest.
Get out. Well, you can take me.
You have no say to say. No, have nothing to say.
This is private property.
Okay.
So she's obstructing.
She's obstructing, yeah.
Yeah, because that's a physical act. If somebody says you're obstructing and you're just standing there not doing anything, that's one thing. But this is obstruction. She's not letting them through.
Yeah, the part there that cuts off at the beginning is that her illegal husband and his illegal friend, that's what they said there. So the two illegals are like, we're being followed by ICE. So they pull into this parking lot and his wife lets them in and blocks ICE from going to arrest him. Yeah, and she got arrested for obstruction. She broke the law.
Yeah, she was obstructing a lawful order, a lawful proceeding. This wasn't some snatch and grab. They were targeting specific people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is stupid. I'm so tired of the media lying to us about this.
But Gavin just told us that oh wait, hang on. Go back to our other video. Share this tab instead. There we go.
No, that's an unflattering still.
They arrested a pregnant lady. Tell the whole story, liar.
Yeah, she might be a citizen, but she was still obstructing and aiding and abetting an illegal immigrant or an illegal act because his presence here is still illegal. So yeah, I don't feel bad for her at all. Fuck that bitch.
We arrest American citizens all the time.
Yeah, lots of Americans. I know American citizens that have been arrested.
Me too.
Usually for DUIs.
It's amazing. Oh my God, they arrested a 9-month pregnant woman. Well, the 9-month pregnant woman was breaking the fucking law.
Yeah, stop breaking the law, asshole.
She should get charged with aiding and sheltering.
Yeah, aiding and providing comfort to the enemy. We got to start treating this like it needs to be treated. And thankfully, Tom Homan is actually doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Just a lot of people don't like the look of it. Oh, boo-hoo. How else are we going to get rid of these people? Because they're not self-deporting. They all think they're entitled to stay and parasitically leech off of us. I'm tired of that shit. We are not the world's piggy bank.
Yeah. But I love the framing because as soon as he said that, I'm like, there's got to be more to this story. And so, yeah, I went and watched that. And if you only watch the first half of that, of the news report we just saw, it's very sympathetic to her. Notice how far in we had to get before they're like, by the way, here's where she's breaking the law.
even then they're going to say, oh no, she was protecting her husband. Oh, it's so heroic. She's such a girl boss woman. Oh my God. She's so stunning and brave. Shut the fuck up. She's committing a felony. At least a misdemeanor. Probably a felony because it's federal agents. But, man, don't do that shit.
A U.S. citizen, 9 months pregnant, was arrested. A 4-year-old girl taken. Families separated. Friends quite literally disappearing.
Couple of things. One, friends being arrested and thrown in jail, that's normal. Families separated, again, see our conversation yesterday and many other times about citizens when they get arrested, they don't get to take their kids with them. That guy getting separated from his wife because he's illegal, that's what she gets for marrying an illegal. Yeah. I have no sympathy for her.
No, I have no sympathy for anybody in her family, quite honestly. Just, you commit the crime, be prepared to do the time.
Now your little half illegal baby's going to be raised without a dad because your dumbass married. How'd she get married to an illegal?
I'd be willing to suspect it was either in Mexico or it's not an actual marriage. It's like, well, we had a spiritual ceremony kind of marriage.
Thank you, Dangerous. An unmarked van near a Home Depot parking lot. If you need to pick up legitimate legal workers, a Home Depot parking lot makes a lot of sense. Also, unmarked. That other video said Border Patrol. Yeah. Gavin's a liar, just for the record.
Now, to be fair, if they don't speak very good English, they may not be able to read Border Patrol. It's just a bunch of symbols.
True.
That was mean.
Did you see that Cuomo presser? Or at least I saw a still shot from it. I didn't watch the whole thing. Where he's bragging about the hundreds of languages spoken in New York City because Andrew wants to become the mayor of New York.
Sadly, he'll probably win. But that guy's an idiot who killed a bunch of old people. And that should haunt him forever. But
true.
It won't. And he's dumb enough to think that's a bonus to have everybody speaking different languages. That's just ludicrous.
I'm not for teaching religion in schools, but I really do think we need to start teaching the Tower of Babel in schools.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about religion. There are some good stories to be told that have good moral lessons. So, might be kind of nice to have some, at least, allegories for people to work with.
It is not a strength for everybody to speak a different language and not be able to communicate. That is not a strength.
No, it causes division. You have people that can't communicate. It breeds animosity and distrust. That's why we are supposed to have a common language. That's why most countries enforce that rule.
To become a citizen, you have to take an English test. But then they were like, you know what? That's too hard. Make it in Spanish. No, we need to make English the official language and just be done with it.
Yeah. I mean, Trump's pushing that a little bit, but unless Congress does it, that isn't going anywhere.
He issued an EO over it, but it doesn't carry the same weight as if Congress just passes a fucking law.
Well, you can't get these crybaby Republicans to actually do their jobs. They're a bunch of spineless babies.
I bet we could get it through as a constitutional amendment.
Well, that'd be nice, but I don't really trust any of these people to be tinkering with why we're in there, you know.
In response, everyday Angelenos came out to exercise their constitutional right to free speech and assembly.
Are the everyday Angelenos the before or after group that the other chick was talking about?
From what I've seen in Los Angeles, it would be the night group.
Yeah.
Protest their government's actions. In turn, the state of California and the city and county of Los Angeles sent our police officers to help keep the peace.
You didn't do a very good job at it.
Well, you tie their hands. They really don't have the ability to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And with some exceptions, they were successful.
What?
With some exceptions, they were successful. That's like me saying, me and Lady Monkey used birth control, and with some exceptions, we were successful. We got 3 kids, but we were mostly successful.
Jeez.
5 cars in a line set on fire, fucker.
Yeah. How many police cars have been destroyed? Half a dozen by now, at least. How many policemen were injured? Come on. They were throwing rocks from an overpass, for God's sake.
Where Hassan Piker was, and frankly, should be not on any platform because of that. Just saying.
Yep. He's got the religion of peace backing him up. So
he was laughing about what pussies the cops were for hiding down there.
Because they didn't want to get hit in the head with a rock. I don't think that makes you a pussy. And Hassan is one of the biggest pussies I've ever seen. So I don't think he gets to call other people pussies.
Yeah, this is the guy who was going to go to Gaza. And then people are like, why didn't you go? And he's like, because they couldn't guarantee my safety. Like, in a war zone, really? Odd.
I'm shocked.
Huh.
Like many states, California is no stranger to this sort of unrest.
That's not something you should be announcing like that.
Right? Why would you brag about that, dude? Like, don't tell people that shit.
Like many states, like let's see, Oregon, Washington State, Minnesota. What do these all have in common? They're reliably blue.
Yeah.
We manage it regularly and with our own law enforcement. But this
if you're managing it, it's still a problem. You're not curing the problem. You're not fixing it. You're managing it.
If you were managing it so well, why is it on day 5 of the riots that suddenly Karen's like, oh, maybe we should have a curfew? Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah.
Again, was different. What then ensued was a use of tear gas, flashbang grenades, rubber bullets, federal agents detaining people and undermining their due process rights.
That's not undermining their due process at all.
And it's not even true. The people we've seen shooting rubber bullets and all this stuff, very little of that has been federal agents. That has been the LAPD and the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. I've seen several people hit with rubber bullets, and it's funny to me.
Yeah, of course.
The reporters are like, I got shot with a rubber bullet. Maybe you shouldn't have been standing with the protesters.
Yeah, I mean it's like standing next to the Palestinians and be like, "Why are they shooting at me?"
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. It's a fucking mystery.
But the federal agents, no. We've watched several nights of this, Jack, and every time I've seen the tear gas and the flashbangs, it's been LAPD.
Yeah, it's because they're getting things thrown at them and fireworks shot at them. They're not doing that indiscriminately, but yeah, it's always LAPD. There's almost nothing going on at the federal buildings for the most part.
Before Trump calls up the Guard, so this is before the Marines, before they can say federal anything, the LAPD was tear gassing people. You can go watch the video.
Which, again, is way more restraint than I would have if I was the LAPD.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'd quell this shit on day one.
Oh, hell yeah.
Detaining people and undermining their due process rights. Donald Trump,
it's not undermining their due process rights.
What due process do you need before they shoot tear gas at you for being violent?
Yeah. You have to how many people have to get hurt before you can do that? And they're not getting arrested is not a violation of your due process rights.
Nope.
Unless it's there are cases where it's illegal to they're committing a false arrest.
Yep.
There's none of that here.
And if they were using live fire and shooting these people, yeah, I'd say that's, violation of their due process, because we haven't seen anything that quite legally rises to that standard. Monkey standard, sure, shoot the fuckers. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. On paper, it's wrong, but
again, in the foot, I stand by my statement. Shoot one of these assholes in the foot, and they will stop.
Yeah, just pull one of those like the stupid bitch that got away with it. It's like, I thought it was my taser.
Yeah.
Their due process rights. Donald Trump, without consulting California law enforcement leaders, commandeered 2,000 of our state's National Guard members to deploy on our street.
Commandeered, like that's not his job.
It's
He's
literally his job description.
Chief.
Yep. And they are not on the streets of Los Angeles. Go over, watch IRT. Show me where the streets are lined with Guard members. You will see on the backs of all the officers or on the front, it'll say police or it'll say sheriff. You know what the National Guard doesn't wear? Vests that say police or sheriff.
Yeah, they wear what's that word? Uniforms for war. Yeah. Fucking retards.
But see, he is desperate. This is what makes me think that their polling has to be like with Kamala when I'm like, oh, their polling must be bad because she changed something. Their polling must be really bad for him to be pulling this shit.
Yeah, it's still a desperation Hail Mary, though, because he's still trying to downplay everything.
He is trying to get his message out on social media, and he's being just roasted for it.
As he should be. He's so out of touch. I mean, California liberals are a special breed of ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
Illegally and for no reason. This brazen abuse of power by a sitting president inflamed a combustible.
For the record, Gavin sued President Trump for calling up because remember, he just called it illegal. Illegally called them up and put them on the street. A federal judge just said, you ain't do nothing wrong.
Yeah, it's totally within his power to do that. Why would you have a leader that can't protect the homeland? That's insane.
Well, Gavin doesn't really like it when laws are enforced in his state. Comrade Kitty, thank you for that founding donation. Freedom, my friend, freedom.
Woo.
It's the most wonderful time of year when the tear gas a blowing and sirens all going. Unrest is here. It's the most riotous season of all. I know I'm supposed to be singing this. Sorry. With the flashbangs exploding and protests unfolding from summer to fall, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Indeed.
Absolutely.
Do you think that this is going to spread to those other cities, the city of Northern Virginia, if there's ICE raids, that there's going to be this kind of unrest?
I don't know. I think this weekend we'll find out. It depends how organized and how much money Soros is paying these clowns or Act Blue or whatever NGO is behind this. I think that'll determine how long this keeps going and if it's going to spread. They might try it a little bit like they did in Austin, but I really don't think it's just not catching on. It's not popular enough. You might end up with like regions where the illegals start kind of getting together and throwing a fit, but they're going to get broken up pretty quick because most of them don't want to get deported.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, though, thank you, Evolved Potato. That reporter that got hit by a rubber bullet was an Australian reporter from a news organization that encouraged and laughed at actual peaceful anti-lockdown protesters in Australia. That got shot with rubber bullet at point blank range. I hope it hurt. Yeah, well, sometimes people do experience karma. It just takes a while. Most of the time they don't, but every now and then. So you got to get that little bit of enjoyment and warmth where you can.
Yeah, just for the record, it's not just her. That one was funny. She got hit in like the leg. There was a New York Post reporter who got hit in the fucking forehead with a rubber bullet.
Ooh, that's some
IRT media took one to the gut yesterday.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Look, that's the risk you take as a reporter being out in the field with a violent situation. There was one that got knocked down by anti-immigrant protesters.
Oof.
So yeah, whatever. You embed yourself with people. You're not clearly marked as press. Usually, that's usually when they get hit. But because most credentialed press or big press agencies have reflective jackets that say press. But if these guys want to get close to the protesters, they can't do that because the protesters won't let them near them.
Yeah, the one with the New York Post, it really does look like that, like the cop aimed right at him. And
Maybe
I don't know how close he was to other protesters and stuff that maybe that they were shooting at them, but it was from one of the people in the underpass. So I kind of give the cop a break on that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't like the press either, so kind of.
I'm a little bit more tolerant of the New York Post, so
yeah, they tend to do a lot better, but still, you just see press, you're like, fuck you, people.
Yeah, apparently he got whiplash from that.
Oh, he's probably playing it up like a bitch.
Yeah, maybe whiplash because you yank your head back from the impact, but not the impact itself.
Yeah.
Either way, yeah, them's the breaks, man.
Well, thank you, Evolved. Appreciate it, man.
Our officers and even our National Guard at risk. That's when the down.
Wait, I thought you could control these people. You do it all the time. You just told us that.
Yeah, if you can manage it, why is anyone at risk? And what about the citizens, you asshole? Look, the National Guard and the police know what they signed up for. They're going to put themselves in harm's way a lot. The average citizen on the street living in these places, they didn't sign up for this shit. And you're like, oh, breaking up the riots. Meh. Shut up, you ass.
I just want to know how the National Guard and police are in danger if he's so good at managing this stuff.
Maybe this is a call to action against them. I won't put it past him.
Even if we take his bullshit telling of it, if you put the guard on the streets, how is putting people with M16s on the street putting the people with M16s in danger? Or do they use M4s now, right? That's the go-to.
Probably, but are they allowed to have bullets? Because
I honestly don't know.
Live ammo, or you're not serious. That's all I got to say.
Spiral began. He doubled down on his National Guard deployment by fanning the flames even harder. And the president, he did it on purpose. As the news spread,
he down on
Monkey's gone. Monkey's gone.
I'm back.
Oh, there he is.
He's whining that Trump doubled down on civility.
Bastard.
And he thinks this is a winning proposition. Like,
I told you, man, Gavin's not smart.
Throughout LA, anxiety for family and friends ramped up.
I don't understand why. For the second day in a row, Brian Stelter told me that most Angelinos, I hate that term. It makes me think of Angelina Jolie for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's got a lot of clones.
These Angelinos most of them are living their life like nothing's happening. That Stelter said it on television, and then he posted it on Twitter yesterday.
Yeah. Some reporter said this is contained to like 3 streets, man. Then what about the people that live on those streets or work there, or the business owners, What about them?
I need to know if this is not really affecting them or really is affecting them, because it literally can't be both.
Well, that's the problem with having a silver tongue. It flicks around both sides of your mouth.
Gavin is Biden without the dementia and half the control of his staff, which is impressive. Gavin is dementia Joe without the dementia excuse.
Yeah,
Protests
he thinks he's
started
slick.
Again, by night, several dozen lawbreakers became violent and destructive. They vandalized property.
Bro, those cars were set on fire in the middle of the fucking day. It was light outside.
So was the thing on the overpass where they were pelting the police cars. They set at least one police car on fire that I know of.
Tried to assault police officers. Many of you have seen the video clips of cars burning on cable news.
At night?
Those were mostly dumpsters at night.
Yeah.
You incite violence. I want to be clear about this. If you incite violence or destroy our communities, you're going to be held to account. That kind of criminal behavior will not be tolerated. Full stop.
Really?
Well, what are you bitching about?
Yeah, it sounds like he's fighting for the criminals.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't have it both ways. Either Trump's wrong for sending these people in when you need them because there are violent people out there, or you can't break stuff, but nobody's going to be around to enforce it.
This is why it's important to point out that those cars were set on fire before Trump calls up the guard. Because he's trying to blame all of this. This is all a reaction to Trump sending the guard in. There was no violence before that. Except that's not true at all. Even a little bit. They were already being violent. That's why Trump is like, you ain't going to deal with the problem. We will. Oh, you going to call in the guard, Newsom? No, he's not, because he can't now. Trump took his balls away from him. It's really funny.
Yeah. And you know what? I respect Trump for doing that, because we saw what happened in Portland and Seattle last time, and how ineffectual those clowns were. I just looked it up. LAPD has 8,758 police officers. Some of those are going to be like office workers and shit.
Sure.
Or jailers, that sort of thing. So they're incredibly outnumbered if this got really big.
Yeah.
I mean, there's thousands of people on the street, so they're fairly lucky this is not a popular movement. Because there's no way the LAPD has anywhere near enough, even with the sheriff's department, who probably have a few thousand of their own. There's no way they contain a giant mob, because you could easily bust in 10,000 people and overwhelm the cops on sheer numbers. So yeah, you need the National Guard out there to maintain a presence and say, look, we're not going to let this continue. Gavin is talking out of both sides of his mouth, and it's really pissing me off. He denies on one hand, and on the other hand, he's like, oh, well, I guess there's a little bit of violence.
And that little bit of violence is directly Trump's fault. Dangerous, thank you. Trump did this on purpose. How? How do you accidentally deploy the National Guard? Good point. What the fuck are you even talking about, Gavin? I want to call you a retard, but that's mean to retards. True. His assertion here is that Trump caused this chaos on purpose. He knew that calling the guard would do it. Fuck you.
I'd like to point out the lack of gender parity, because most of the people we see protesting are men.
Hey, we've seen a couple of white women being stupid.
Yeah, but they're a literal minority in this group. So I think they're going to have to recruit some more leftist women to get out there and get tear gassed right in the face.
Well, they're lefty men, so they are lefty women. Just saying.
Oh, that's a good point. They don't really know what they are anymore.
Already more than 220 people have been arrested. And
That's
we're
it?
reviewing tapes to build additional cases, and people will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
No, you won't. You lying sack of shit. They're gonna get obstruction tickets or disorderly conduct and pay like $100 fine. You lying sack of shit.
Fuck, half of them won't even get that. It'll just be dismissed. Remember what they
Yeah.
were doing in Portland and Seattle? There's just too many of them.
Yeah, the DA dismissed 5,000 cases at one time, and God knows how many more different occasions.
And isn't that that Soros cunt out there in LA still as the DA?
No, probably.
Again, thanks to our law enforcement officers and the majority of Angelenos who protested peacefully, the situation was winding down and was concentrated in just a few square blocks downtown.
That's such bullshit.
That's not what Donald Trump wanted. He again chose escalation.
I love that they think Trump wants the rioting.
Yeah, the man that never got us in a war wants escalation on the streets of America. No, you fucking idiots.
The Democrats are the ones who want this. And this is why we've seen rioting under Trump so much. It's because they think it helps them.
Yep.
Let's see when we've had our major riots. We had major riots in 2016. We had them in 2020. We had them in 2018. It's almost like it's election years. And then this year, there is an you got your state elections. So every year's an election year, but they have to embarrass Trump. And we've been taught. How many of us said riots are coming because Trump won? That wasn't just you and me, Jack. Tons of people like, riots are coming.
Yeah.
And we knew it.
It's noticing a trend more than anything.
He's like, this is what Trump wants. No, this is what you guys want, because up until now, the media has worked for you. All of your bullshit. I mean, you had people thinking Kyle Rittenhouse killed 3 black guys. You had the anchors on the news saying this. It was 3 white guys, for those of you who forgot. They were able to control the narrative so much that you had CNN and MSNBC at separate times with reporters standing in front of arson fires telling us how peaceful it was.
Well, fiery, but mostly peaceful.
And if you talk to anybody who was watching that stuff that wasn't watching our show, they'll tell you, it was mostly peaceful. No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Now, to be fair, CNN also interviewed their cameraman claiming he was a protester.
That is true. That is true. But this isn't working for them anymore. And they don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah. When the majority of the population is not buying your bullshit, these guys cannot. Communists have a problem with this because they can't pivot on a dime. Nope. They're not agile because they like big governments and committees and all that crap. So whenever they run into an obstacle like this, they got to run it through focus groups, run it through committees, so everybody feels heard, instead of like Trump does, where he's just like, okay, let's do it a different way.
Hang on. I need to step away for just a second.
All right. Yeah, you got to be agile in your revolution there, buddy. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Legacy media has no value anymore. They do. They serve as a bad example. It's always good to know what your enemies think. Oh, hi, Jenna. Hi, Mark. Oh, well, he just forgot what century it is. The Democrat government worked that way. A governor told Jefferson Davis to fuck off. And how dare you make a request on a governor? Yeah, you're not wrong, Brand. Megatron must tinkle. Yeah, he's probably just refilling his drink. Only value they have, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people say Trump acts like a king, Desert, but I don't really think that that's what's going on. But, agree to disagree. Schrodinger's white guy. Tetris. I'm so bad at Tetris, but I do enjoy it. It's one of those games where no matter how much you hate it, you end up playing it. A few blocks is not it's not small fuck knuckle, right? He does like a lot of gold furnishings. That's true. He's got a gold toilet.
We didn't talk.
Hmm?
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist $12. Tony Moon, OG Roof Korean, yes, is telling people this is just like the 92 LA riots. He's volunteered his Dawu K2 and his services again, lol. You should all follow him on Twitter. Oh, he's on Twitter? Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Look, the rooftop Koreans are the greatest weapon in modern American history. We didn't know we had them until we needed them. And there they were. They were like Minutemen. Those were real patriots. They all should have got medals.
Excuse me. We didn't talk about it, but Trump embarrassed Gavin in another way today. Somebody asked him when he last talked to Gavin, and he said yesterday. And I don't know when the video is exactly from. But Trump said yesterday or something like that. And Gavin came out and go, there was no call, no voicemail, nothing. And so Trump called into Fox News and sent them a screenshot of his phone where he had a 16-minute call with Gavin. Now,
yeah, I just left a long voicemail.
The only thing that might be wrong is it might not have been the day before, like Trump said. It might have been 2 days before.
Whatever.
But Gavin didn't come out and go, hey, there was no call yesterday. It was the day before. He just came out, there's no call.
Gavin, I don't understand how these people, after all this time, with all the technology we have, they keep banking on these obvious lies.
Yeah. And if Trump had called him days before, that's what he should have said. There was no call yesterday. It was a couple days ago. But they're like, hey, look, Trump lied about it. He might have got the day off by a couple of days. By the way, that conversation for Trump happens at 1:00 in the morning, Trump's time. It was like
Trump is a workaholic.
Yeah.
He's notorious for that. He works many, many hours. And he doesn't sleep very much. I think Melania one time said he sleeps something like 4 or 6 hours a day, and that's it.
Yeah, by that time, Biden's been asleep for 12 hours.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. New York businessmen, they're a lot like that, especially powerful CEO types. Yeah. They all work really long days.
He chose more.
The staff members didn't tell Gavin. No, it was a direct call to Gavin. He called him personally on his cell phone.
Of course, he chose theatrics over public safety. He federalized another 2,000 Guard members. He deployed more than 700 active U.S. Marines. These are the men and women trained for foreign combat, not domestic law enforcement.
If they shoot some illegals, they're all right.
Yeah, that's threats foreign and domestic.
True.
It's kind of the title of what the commander-in-chief does, protecting the homeland. So, yeah, I don't care that he activated a bunch of Marines to protect federal property and the citizens, for that matter. As far as I'm concerned, those Marines could go around shooting illegals all day long. I'm not going to bet a goddamn eye.
We honor their service. We honor their bravery. But we do not want our streets militarized by our own armed forces, not in LA.
Well, then you should have done something about it.
Yeah, I don't want my streets overrun with illegals.
Yeah. Look, nobody wants the military wandering the streets like we're in North Korea. That's not what's happening here. What's happening is the locals can't handle this, so they need additional resources. And if that means sending in active duty Marines to quell an uprising, or some would say an insurrection or invasion, then that's what needs to be done. You can't let this stuff get out of hand.
The problem is, once again, like with the Guard, they're not on the streets of LA.
No, they're at the federal buildings.
Evolved Potato, thank you. Something funny was Newsom correcting a video of, oh my God, fires and rioting of not being recent, but actually a few years ago. And someone said, sorry, it was that other time your state was burnt to the ground by riots. True. Yeah, I saw Gavin say that on Twitter. He's like, people are lying about where this is from. Like, that's fine. And so somebody posted right under it the picture of the cars on fire. He goes, when's this from? Gavin did not respond to that.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't want to. They thrive on chaos. That is the communist way. They love anarchy and chaos, just like any other anarchist. It gives them a golden opportunity to try and seize power. And he got cucked by Trump on this, and I'm fine with it.
The whole nonsense about he called up the guard and the Marines. They're not on the fucking streets of Los Angeles. Think of it this way. He just told us it's only a couple of blocks that this is happening on. Do you know how secure you could have those blocks with, by his count, 4,700 troops?
I mean, it would look very militarized, but it'd be very safe.
And when you tell me we don't want our streets militarized, do you think your people want your streets lined with homeless folks on fentanyl?
Yeah. You know, the safest country in the world is a police state.
True.
I'm just saying. But look, Gavin's people aren't handling this, so somebody's got to step in and make sure everything is safe.
Doug Resurrect, thank you for that feminist $12. I want these retards to try something against the Marines. Those jarheads would eat these freaks alive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They won't do anything, though, because, yeah, they're a bunch of pussies. Not the Marines, the protesters. I have a lot of respect. I've run the obstacle course for the Marines in Norfolk.
Oh,
and I was young and athletic, and the only thing I couldn't do was the tower you have to climb. It's got 4 levels on it and no ladders.
Yeah, I've seen that. No, thank you.
I got to the 3rd level and my fear of heights went, we're not going any further, fucker.
That'll be far enough, sir.
But just the strength it takes to run that course is amazing.
Yeah.
I so much respect for the fitness of Marines, man.
I got a buddy who was a Marine pilot. He flew the refueling plane, a helicopter thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he would always talk about he was in great shape into his 50s. Now he's starting to get kind of fat. You know who you are. You might be listening. You know who you are. But yeah, he was in really good shape. And I was like, man, he was telling me horror stories about stuff they had to do. And I was like, fuck that. I get that, you know, some people can do that, but why? Oh, no, thank you.
Being a Navy brat and living in military housing so much of my life, it was the Marine families. So we grew up around sailors, and no offense, sailors, a lot of y'all are fat. You are not fit, okay? You're as buoyant as those boats you're on. And so when
shit to the Air Force,
a Marine moves in, you're like, he's either a Marine or a SEAL, because his silhouette is straight. There's no roundedness to it.
Yeah, they all look like they're gonna rip you apart limb from limb. They got that look, you know. I have a lot of respect for those guys. They do some pretty tough work, but I have no problem with deploying them in a situation like this.
Look, I'm not bashing the Navy either, because a lot of the Navy jobs that have to be done can be done by fat guys.
Oh yeah, it's getting through those portholes. Like you know, we gotta secure the bulkheads. Get Porkins over there.
They're not having to hump a rucksack across a field dodging fire, so they get a little bit more of a pass.
Yeah, I want my drone operators to look like the Warcraft nerd in that
in South Park
episode.
Yeah. Make Love Not Warcraft is one of my favorite episodes. I've seen it so many times. It's so well done.
Wasn't that based on a real person?
I don't know if he was or not. I do know that when they went to make that, they were thinking about how they were going to do it, and it turned out that they used the same animation program, so it was really easy to integrate.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Not in California, not anywhere. We're seeing unmarked cars in school parking lots, kids afraid of attending their own graduation.
Wait, aren't you supposed to be afraid of stranger danger anyway as a kid?
Aren't most cars in a parking lot unmarked? Because they're not actually associated with anything?
No advertising. I'll sell advertising space on my car. Fuck it.
How many kids have been arrested at their graduations?
Probably like 30 years ago.
They
don't go after the kids. The fucking dreamers are protected.
Well, look at that stupid story they told. They sent ICE to this school, and it was Secret Service because they had a teacher there making threats against the president. Remember that one?
You and your hate fact.
And then they're going to tell us that Donald Trump wants to spread fear. I have not seen the rest of this, but I would not be shocked to hear him say it. But we hear it all. He wants to spread fear. That's why you guys should be afraid to go to school.
They should be afraid to go to school because they're leeching off of the system. They're trying to make Trump into the Scarecrow from the Batman cartoon.
Yes.
And it's really not working because it just makes him sound cool.
Trump is pulling a military dragnet all across Los Angeles, well beyond.
A military dragnet. Okay.
Did he put did he put Brigadier General Joe Friday on the case? When was the last time you heard someone say dragnet?
Fuck.
Especially not talking about the TV show or the Dan Aykroyd version movie.
The movie, by the way, was great. It wasn't faithful to the show, but it was so good.
It was okay. I haven't seen it in a while, though, to be fair. So,
calling it a dragnet is a good way to say it if that's what they were actually doing, but it's not what they're actually doing, and it's not the military doing it. It's ICE doing it.
What?
ICE is not the military. They're not the military.
No, but Monkey, they're Orange Man Band's foot troops. They're like his Gestapo, right? Is he gonna say Gestapo?
They're again. I haven't watched the rest of this, so I wouldn't be shocked. But they're the SS. We saw that on a poster board yesterday.
Oh, that's right. They were Secret Santas.
Yeah.
Beyond his stated intent to just go after violent and serious criminals. His agents are arresting dishwashers, gardeners.
Okay.
Don't commit crime. Dishwashers.
Wait a second. He says that Trump's stated intent is to get rid of violent criminals to start with. But if we happen to catch non-violent criminals, it's okay to arrest them too and get them the fuck out.
Yeah. If they're illegals, they're illegals. They're still criminals.
Trump's stated intent is to get rid of the illegals.
Yeah. That's what he ran on this. I don't know why this is a shock to Newsom. It's like he just heard about this.
Newsom is pulling the Obama-Biden line that the violent criminals, they're all criminals. And Trump has never said that they're just going to do the violent ones. Ever.
Yeah, I think they said they wanted to start with that.
Yes.
But that's silly. Also, we don't know what that dishwasher gets up to in his free time.
True.
Maybe he likes to stab women in the titties. I don't know.
I am curious. What was the profession of the guy who killed Laken Riley?
Freeloader? I don't know.
Day laborers and seamstresses. That's just weakness. Weakness masquerading as strength.
Enforcing your laws as weakness, masquerading as strength. You're kind of a puss, dude.
Yeah.
His hair is weakness.
Donald Trump's government isn't protecting our communities. They're traumatizing our communities. And that seems to be the entire point.
Okay, it's not the entire point from Trump's perspective. Trump's a much nicer guy than I am. I want illegals to be afraid.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be here. You should live in fear of being arrested and deported.
Yep. Get the fuck out.
His hair needs an oil change.
California will keep fighting. We'll keep fighting on behalf of our people, all of our people, including in the courts.
Courts just shot you down, dickhead.
Yesterday, we filed a legal challenge to Donald Trump's reckless deployment of American troops to a major American city.
And you lost.
Today, we sought an emergency court order to stop the use of the American military to engage in law enforcement activities across Los Angeles.
There's no proof that they're being used for law enforcement activity.
No, they're at the federal buildings. Jesus, how's he not getting this?
He's a retard.
Yeah, I understand that most of the time they're purposefully distorting the facts, but I think this man is actually that stupid.
If some of us could be snatched off the streets without a warrant, based only on suspicion or skin color, then none of us are safe.
Suspicion or probable cause?
Yeah, suspicion is literally what probable cause is. I'm just going to say this. If they're snatching people up based on skin color, chances are, because he said if they're picking up people based on skin color, then none of us is safe. I feel like the whites, blacks, and Asians are probably okay.
Yeah, statistically, you're probably a lot safer.
The implication here is that they're just picking up Mexican-looking people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, if they were doing this in Dearborn, you'd be like, well, don't be an illegal Somali.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's wrong that they're not going. There's a whole group of Mexicans standing outside of a Home Depot. Maybe we should check them out.
Yeah, I mean, that just seems like there's a time and a place where you're like, hey, I'm going to hang out at the meth house. I don't know why they thought I committed crime.
At the current moment in time, Jack, I am in zero fear of being deported accidentally. I have no doubt that I could walk through Los Angeles right next to ICE agents and none of them would be like, he's probably one of them illegals.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be too concerned about it myself. Also, I'm really old, so I probably won't fight with them too much. I might get a free vacation out of it. They deport me to Mexico. I'll go hang out with Ethan Ralph at his weird little crack hovel. Like, what's up, Ethan? You blocked me on Twitter, you dick.
Just the logic of that. Now, I understand that a large portion of Los Angeles is some manner of Latino.
Yeah.
Spaniel, whatever.
Probably, but you saw, I saw one earlier today. You pointed it out, the Honduran flag.
Yeah.
That threw me off. I finally saw one today when I was watching some of the feeds, actually about an hour ago. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but yeah, most of these people are from Mexico. So,
isn't it weird? He brings up the lady with the pregnant lady earlier, right? ICE is following these two guys, and they just happened to get lucky, and they were both illegals.
Yeah.
Maybe, Gavin, maybe it's more than just the color of their skin.
Yeah, maybe it's almost like maybe they're doing police work.
Yeah. Maybe it's like Biden kind of made some of this easy for Trump by putting these people in a database.
Yeah. Like the gun registry. So when they go to seize the firearms, they have a list. But yeah, this is just fucking dumb. oh, the cops aren't capable of looking shit up.
The Biden and Obama administrations had their catch and release programs, and part of that is getting their names and
Yeah.
getting their locations.
The general biometric data and
Yep.
oh, somebody just got arrested. Yeah, real quick though, thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist donation. I'm sure it's pure coincidence that when ICE shows up to a construction site, it's all Mexicans that start running.
Yep.
Oh, it's purely a coincidence because there's one thing construction workers are afraid of. That's loud noises.
Yes.
Idiots. Oh my God.
Have there
That's a
been
good point, Dark.
Have there been any of these raids where they're like, not a single illegal was found?
No, there hasn't been a single one yet.
Not one.
Like, I can understand somebody got detained that was like here legally or something because they got kind of swept up. But they always cut them loose. They don't keep them unless they're causing a problem like that chick.
Yep. This is I've discussed this with people in real life. Like, but some Americans have been detained. Americans get detained all the time.
Yeah.
It
sometimes
happens
lawfully, sometimes not.
But most of the time it is lawfully. If the police are dealing with a situation, you're making an ass of yourself, they will detain you. They will put you in cuffs and go, you sit here until we're done.
Yeah.
And then if we have no reason to further process you, we'll let you go and you can go on your merry fucking way, but stop acting an ass.
That's one of the reasons I always tell people, fight it in court, not on the roadside. Because the cops are going to win. And you're just going to end up getting in more trouble, and they'll find a reason to ruin your life if they're a bad cop. So they'll just stack on a bunch of charges and it's life ruination at that point because you bruise their ego.
Besides that, more often than not, the cops don't want to deal with you.
No, because it's paperwork. Have you ever seen their paperwork? Fuck that.
Much rather you just calm the fuck down and go home. It's amazing how many on the body cam footage stuff where you see these people, if they would have just shut the fuck up, they'd have gone home.
Yeah. Just take your ticket, get a lawyer, fight it in court. Because you can have a probable cause hearing. They have a different term for it in some states, but there's plenty of legal ways to fight a ticket. You don't have to sit there and start screaming and hollering and acting like a retard. Just deal with the situation as it comes as peacefully as possible. Do not escalate. And that's why that chick got arrested today, the pregnant lady.
Yeah.
It's her own fault.
Thank you, Dangerous. I hate heights too. My family and I stayed at a 5th floor apartment a week before Christmas. I never went on the balcony or the roof where there was a spa and hated the giant window next to the lift. I don't mind it if I'm in a building. I actually like the feeling I get when I'm afraid of heights. That's why I love roller coasters. I love that adrenaline rush of that fear. It's not like my claustrophobia where this shirt's a little too tight. It's got to go in the trash now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Shirt's too tight. Was the shirt too tight or your stomach getting bigger?
No, I'm almost positive my claustrophobia comes from being a kid. When I tell you guys I have a giant head, I'm not kidding. And getting a shirt on sometimes took force.
Oh, and yeah. My sister babysat a kid like that.
Yeah, I had a big ass head. I still have a big ass head, but it was traumatizing to me. I still remember some of those shirts.
Your head's the same size. You just grew into it.
True. No, I still haven't grown into it. I need to grow like another 4 feet. It's a good thing I'm handsome.
Yeah. Yeah, my sister babysat a big-headed baby, and I made fun of that kid ruthlessly. He was ugly, too. That was the worst part. I feel
None
bad
of us
now.
are safe. Authoritarian regimes begin by targeting people who are least able to defend themselves.
Oh, you mean like grandmas that were wandering around a government building? Fuck you, Newsom.
I was going to say like women who get raped and murdered by these illegals.
Yeah. Yeah, all the victims of the illegals. What about all the people that went to the school board meetings that were targeted by the feds? I mean, like them?
But they do not stop there. Trump and his loyalists, they thrive on division because it allows them to take more power and exert even more control.
That side over there thrives on division. They never think these things through.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael Savage makes a good point. Newsom's hair looks CGI.
Mm.
Kind of does.
And by the way, Trump, he's not opposed to lawlessness and violence as long as it serves him. What more evidence do we need than January 6th?
Oh, God damn it.
Fuck off. Considering Portland, Louisville, Minneapolis, Seattle. I mean, there's a litany that we could go through just from 2020, you cocksmoker.
They literally tried setting the White House on fire. They set the guardhouse outside the White House on fire. They set the church across the street from the White House on fire.
Yeah, we watched that one live. That was. I am shocked the Secret Service didn't shoot those guys.
Let me ask you something, Jack.
Sure.
Because one of their talking points is it's only a couple of blocks in Los Angeles. How many blocks was it on January 6th?
Less than one. It was specifically one building.
How many blocks was it in Charlottesville in the Unite the Right rally?
That was like a park and maybe half a block.
Maybe 4 blocks tops.
I wouldn't even say it was that much.
Suddenly the size of the area matters. If you're going to sit there and try to point Trump's a hypocrite, he's okay with violence. One, unlike you, Trump told those people to go home.
Yeah.
He told them to be nonviolent.
Yeah, it's true.
It took you 5 fucking days to say, hey, don't do that shit. But Trump's the one who uses violence for his own gain.
Yeah.
Ask everyone. Take time. Reflect on this perilous moment. A president.
Perilous moment. What does he mean by that? Are they going to rebel? Is California going to break off from the U.S. over this? We lose Monkey again.
I wish the video would stay up when I leave, so at least you guys could see something.
Oh, we can still see the video screen.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
6th. Ask everyone. Take time.
Ask everyone. Hey, Gavin, I'm a person, and before you said to ask everyone, we mocked you for the stupid shit you just said. Time to make a new video and go, whoops, I was a dumbass.
Yeah. Gavin looks like he smells like old farts. He has that like old lady look to him.
He looks like a used car salesman from an 80s movie.
Yeah, the villainous kind. He probably does huff his own farts, I'm just saying.
Reflect on this perilous moment. A president who wants to be bound by no law or constitution, perpetuating a unified assault.
You're whining about the president using his constitutional authority to call up the guard, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, nothing he's doing is lawless per se. It's all within his powers as president.
Yeah. That's why you got shot down in court, asshole.
Fucking dumbass.
On American traditions. This is a president who in just over 140 days has fired government watchdogs that could hold him accountable for corruption and fraud.
What? Corruption and fraud? Like the way the Democrats were funneling money through USAID and NFTs? Very upsetting, huh?
Those government watchdogs still exist. This isn't like here in Michigan where, swear to God, our governor got rid of I don't know if she was successful. She was trying to get rid by completely defunding the internal watchdogs, because they kept pointing out she keeps breaking the law.
Yeah, well, I mean, her husband really wanted to go to the lake house.
She has completely fucked herself on the national stage by what she's done here in Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, just recently, a board that she put together entirely herself recommended she get a big ass raise.
Oh, wow.
Weird how that happens, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy. I think Newsom is in the process of doing the exact same kind of thing right here. He is just shooting himself in the foot with the general public. They're going to look at this and be like, why are you protecting these criminals?
Our governor is doing it much more quietly because people don't really pay much attention to Michigan politicians.
Yeah, she's up there in the hand trying to give Ontario a handy.
Gavin, like I said, he has been positioning himself to be a moderate. And he really does think this is another gay marriage moment. He thinks this is his George Floyd gay marriage moment. And what I mean by that is he thinks because the Floyd riots, there's people who do believe that helped Biden in 2020. It didn't. The economy sucking and the media being on their side and some unspecified things I'm not sure we're still allowed to talk about. Fraud. Excuse me. Had some reality in my throat.
Yeah, you did.
That's what really happened in 2020. Even if you look at the majority of the United States, people are like, we're on BLM side. The actual number of people who got involved in the rioting and stuff was minimal compared to the 330 million people in the country.
Yeah.
It was all a product of the press and, people like you and me laughing at it.
Well, it was funny.
The same thing happens in the 2018 riots, which were much more muted. But they tried to push, look, the people are going to the streets. They hate Donald Trump. It doesn't actually work, but they want it to.
Yeah. Oh, they love a good parade.
Yep.
Like all communists.
And with this, gay marriage really is what makes him at least politically, household name. Because he defies everybody, including the people that he cares so much about, Jack.
Oh, yeah, well, fuck them.
And it really did boost his starts. The only reason he was able to become governor, because otherwise he's just a nobody cares about. And he thinks this is his moment that's going to make him president. And you are handling it so badly, sir.
He's handling it badly from the wrong side.
Yeah. Oh, I got to get a drink. Apparently I didn't refill before I started the show tonight.
For people that were on the want so desperately to be on the so-called right side of history, they have picked all the losing causes. It's almost impressive.
Jack, I know we talked about this recently, but a large portion of why they thought Kamala was going to lose, and turns out to be true, is young men. They had a problem with young men, so they brought in gay Tim Walz. Don't know why.
He's the manliest they could find. Because Tim Walz also likes young men.
But true, fair. But we see that with young men, immigration is their biggest issue. And these idiots in the Democratic Party are like, immigration is our hill to die on.
Well, I mean, look at how hard they went to bat for that Maryland man who was a human trafficker MS-13 member who beat his wife on multiple occasions and may or may not watch CP.
Look at how they went to bat for that illegal who fucked a 12-year-old in your state.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they'll do anything to cover for criminals. That's what it looks like.
I do wonder if Gavin has been watching that fat chick we watched the other day that the Democrats are paying a shit ton of money to reach out to men.
That's still funny to me. Like, what a waste of money.
Because he seems to be believing that no, people really don't care about that because the fat chick said so.
Yeah, well, they have a problem of not listening to people outside of their little circle. They don't experience the world the same way normal people do. They have select friends that go along with everything they say.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they get excised from the group. So it's not surprising that they're this out of touch. It's just surprising that they're willing to vocalize it so much. You know, it's sort of like somebody that lived on a cult compound. They don't assimilate well because they're indoctrinated with cult-like thinking.
But see, this is why it was so interesting to me watching them try to dissect why they lost. And it really does seem that they've just settled on Kamala didn't have enough time. She just didn't have enough time. It's the original sin. Biden ran. It took away time. The more people saw Kamala, the more they hated her.
Yeah, do you really think time would have helped that? Because
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, it would have been funnier, but
they're ignoring all of the lessons that were there. And they're ignoring the people in their own party who are like, we need to moderate this shit because we're losing on these issues.
Yeah, and their unwillingness to change is their biggest weakness. They are a large monolith that cannot turn quickly. So they've made themselves so bloated and so dependent on intersectionality that they can't change because they have to get approval from all these people first. It's self-defeating, and what they'll resort to is just cheating again.
Oh, I must have just replied to that one. We're going to break with this. I don't know if we'll come back to it. I'm going to leave it up just in case, but I want to watch a CNN video from earlier, Jack.
Uh-oh.
No, it's enlightening. It's from Harry Enton, who used to be Chris Cillizza's little bitch boy.
Oh.
Where is my comment on
my
that?
Protege.
Yeah, it was kind of sad, really. Okay, I'll just look up Harry Enton because it's easier that way because I can't find where I responded to the idiot. Enton, right? I forget how you spell it.
Like the tree people?
Why is it not coming up? Son of a bitch. All right, I'm going to find this goddamn thing. Thank you, Jiraiya. Imagine a world where he says we are working with Trump to keep it peaceful. Instead, all Trump does is escalation. It's like dealing with an ex. Well, when it comes to the Democratic Party, the way that they respond to Trump over and over is like he broke up with them, and they're like, "I still love you."
Well, it is kind of a bitter divorce because he left the party, so they feel betrayed. And how dare you leave the collective?
And in that case, I mean, he really is their ex and the weird part is he didn't leave them. They left him.
Yep.
The ex left him and is like, I hate you for me leaving you. How dare you? All right, talk for a second so I can find this stupid fucking thing.
All right, what's up, sexy chat? Never stick your dick in crazy. Pfft, that's what people keep saying. But as I've said before, grippy socks, grippy box.
All right, I found it.
On in Rumble?
I confused myself because I had reposted the video or the picture of the people on the short bus because that still makes me laugh.
Yeah, yeah. Green Badger makes a good point that Gavin had no problem sending police out to arrest people during COVID.
True. Okay, we want to share this tab instead and bring it up. All right. Now, if I remember correctly, the volume is kind of low on this, so I might have to reiterate what he says. But anyway.
Is he pooping?
No, this comes later. We'll see him do it again. For some reason, he leans over real far to talk to him like to the camera, like he's talking to kindergartners. I don't know why.
Okay. I'll just go with it. I don't know what to say to that.
Closer to trust more on immigration among immigrant citizens. That's the important part of this poll. This is among immigrants, legal immigrants, Jack.
Oh, I got distracted by Blondie's boobies. Sorry.
She barely has any, man.
Oh, I like them small.
She got mosquito bites.
Yeah. 8 cups are best cups. They're like shot glasses for the soul.
I do like the people who got so upset over Alito's wife having an upside down flag. They're keeping this picture on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a couple of them out there. It's hey, we need some American flags. Let's put them in the distress position. Idiots.
They were really upset about that with Alito's wife.
That was then. This is a new day.
But according to this, among immigrant citizens, and I think Harry goes over it, but just in case he doesn't read this one specifically, Democrats in 2020 had a 32-point advantage, saying that Democrats would handle immigration better. GOP has a +8 now. That is a 40-point swing, Jack.
Wow.
That immigrant citizens, immigrant voters, foreign-born voters have gone tremendously to the right on this issue in 2024 and 2025 versus where they were in 2020. Closest to or trust more in immigration. You go back to 2020. Democrats get this held lead on this issue. Immigrant voters 25. Look at that shift, a 40-point shift to the right among immigrant voters. Republicans now lead on this issue by 8 points over Democrats, more so than any other group that I could find. The group of voters who became more hawkish on immigration were, in fact, immigrants themselves, immigrants who are registered to vote in this country.
This is shocking to them.
I don't know why, because this is not new polling.
Look, let's put away the illegals for a second, Jack. Let's put this on a level people can deal with a little better. People who aren't immigrants. Let's say you're standing in line for 2 hours to get on a roller coaster. And some person just comes up and cuts in front of everybody. Not a cancer kid, Jack, because we all like, yeah, that kid can go.
Yeah, of course.
Just some loud public some influencer from Instagram.
Yeah.
How pissed off would you be at watching them get to go to the front of the line?
Oh, that would be, yeah. I might Karen on that one.
Now imagine that, except for it's coming into this country, and instead of costing you a few $100s, it's literally thousands and thousands of dollars. And instead of a couple of hours, it's years. Currently, about 15 years. And they're like, why would they be mad about people skipping the whole process? I don't get it.
Yeah, and when you come here legally, you don't get all the free benefits and stuff. You're not getting a free hotel room and cell phone and a gift card and SNAP benefits. You have to work for your shit. Yeah, I'd be super livid.
So that's on that issue. How about how they feel about kind of traditionally, historically about Donald Trump?
Yeah. So, you see this shift and you go, what is going on underneath the hood? Well, take a look, Donald Trump. You remember when he first ran back in 2016, immigrant voters were one of his weakest blocks. But look at this, Trump's vote share in presidential election among, again, immigrant citizens.
I just want to point out, it's one of his weakest blocks. Do you guys remember the TYT meltdown?
It was so beautiful.
Part of the reason that Trump wins is, yes, he only had 36% of immigrant voters, but that was a massive shift for the Republicans in that election. It was a major shift because you had the TYT folks like, fuck the immigrants. I hope they all get deported.
Those who are registered to vote. Look at this. 2016, he got 36% of the vote. You go to 2020, 39% of the vote. Look at this. In 2024, all the way up to 47% of the vote. Some polls I looked at had him barely losing that vote. Some polls I looked at had him barely winning that vote. Again, there is no block of voters that shifted more to the right from 2020 to 2024 than immigrant voters.
But keep talking, Gavin, in your city of largely immigrants.
Yeah, that's where they're having to bust people in. This guy, I really think they just figured out how polling actually works. And these numbers have been this way for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't understand that people that struggled and worked hard to get here are a little upset. Gee, why? Maybe because they're seeing the results of all these illegals leeching off the system, and what they worked so hard for is being downgraded by these people.
Well, also think of the rhetoric and the what I said earlier about how the media is losing its influence. In Trump's first term, remember we were told about the Border Patrol whipping people. Remember that shit?
Yeah. The horse reins. Yeah.
We had they're keeping kids in cages, and even though everybody knows that was Obama, they still repeat that shit. They're separating families again. Both Biden eventually, but the Obama administration did the same fucking thing. So you just have this chorus of how horrible Trump is treating these people, and Biden's going to make it all better. He's going to secure the border. There's not going to be a big influx, and literally the first month he is president, it sets a record for how many have come across. And they're like, what? It's always a bunch of them at this time of year.
You're such a hate monster with all your facts.
What you're seeing in these polls right here is the media losing its influence. That's just true. Obama was Ice King. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. That whole thing about Obama deported more people than anyone else is a fucking lie. It's because they changed what they were calling deportations. It literally included stopping somebody at the border and saying, no, you can't come in. They're like, see, we deported one.
Yeah, and half the time they were probably like, just go down about 20 miles. You could cross without us seeing you.
Yep. They started changing how they were classifying deportations, and suddenly he deported more than anybody. No, he didn't. That's a fucking lie.
And Donald Trump, at least in some surveys, actually won that vote. On average, it's about equal. So there may be all this stuff, right, about undocumented immigrants and Trump being harsh on them, but immigrant voters themselves have increasingly liked Donald Trump and have increasingly moved to the right on immigration and into the Republican camp.
Well, then on that, what you're getting at, how immigrant citizens, voters, feel about people in the country illegally.
Yeah, and this is where it all kind of comes together, Kate Baldwin. Look at this. The net favorable rating, immigrants who are here illegally, among immigrant citizens, again, those registered to vote. In 2020, look at this, plus 23 points on the net favorable rating. But look at where we were in 2024, minus 6 points. Underwater. So immigrant citizens have become increasingly unfavorable in their views of those immigrants who are here illegally.
Maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there, they started paying attention. Maybe they started realizing that just letting in a bunch of illegals isn't the great thing Democrats and the media told us.
Well, they're seeing the results of these policies.
Yeah.
Because after a few years of this, of flooded illegals coming in, and Los Angeles really does have a lot of illegal migrants.
Yep.
So they are like store owners, they're blue collar workers, white collar workers on some occasions. They're seeing this in their own neighborhoods. And if you're not making a lot of money and you have suddenly a whole lot of competition for jobs, that's going to piss you off. Or they come rob your store, or they're just stealing from you in some other way. Your kid's trying to learn English, and they flood in a bunch of kids that don't speak English. What the fuck are you supposed to think? These people are trampling over everything I've tried to build.
And Charles says someone give him some testosterone. Don't worry, he takes it anally. You also have in the time between 2020 and 2024, Abbott and to a lesser extent DeSantis sending illegals to places like New York.
Yep.
Because remember, before then, they're largely kept around the border states. And everybody up north was like, no, we're a sanctuary. All the illegals are magically delicious. And then they're like, well, here, you eat them. And they're like, this tastes like shit.
Yeah. Look at how quickly Adams turned around on it, and he barely got any illegals.
Yeah. So you also have the problem of, and don't forget, for all the talk about how DeSantis and Abbott moved around, Biden was dropping illegals all over the country too.
Yeah, just as Springfield.
Yep. And so like, how could this change? Because people started to have to live their convictions.
Yeah. They're holding people accountable, and there's nothing that communist hates more than accountability, like women. Real quick, thank you, Evolve Patel. I wish it took 15 years to become Australian citizens because it just takes 6 to 12 months here. Wow. And if it's election time, sometimes they're fast-tracked to a few months just for the votes. Basically, no vetting. Yeah, that's what they want here. But thankfully, there's been pushback.
Yeah.
So I think it's so important when we're talking about this debate from a political angle to separate those out who are undocumented immigrants versus those who are here legally.
Suddenly it's important to separate the legals from the illegals. You know, when we're talking about polls and we need to learn how to deceive the legal ones, we got to make a distinction. I've never heard anybody in the mainstream outside of maybe Fox say, hey, we need to separate legals from illegals when we're talking about them.
Well, they like to cluster people together.
Yeah, they always just, as immigrants.
Yeah. It's always worked in their favor before.
Yep.
Those who are citizens and those who are voters, because that group of voters has felt increasingly distant from those immigrants who are here legally. And so again, when we're talking about this, at least from a political angle, this is why Donald Trump feels so comfortable, because in fact, amongst the group that you would think that would be most opposed to this, in fact, they become increasingly favorable, not just towards Donald Trump, but towards a Republican point of view on immigration and becoming distant from those immigrants who are here illegally.
Yeah, an important baseline to consider as this plays out.
Yes.
You would think so, but Gavin obviously did not see this poll.
Yeah. Well, they want so desperately to create the narrative that anybody on the right is a racist who doesn't want to deal with illegal or immigrants in general. And that's just not true. Nobody cares about legal immigrants unless there's like too many of them coming in for some reason. They care about the illegals that aren't vetted, and we know nothing about them bringing their Zika viruses. I'm very angry at this. This is my issue.
There we are.
There you are.
Yeah. I do want to say there is a growing chorus of people who are like, we don't need any immigrants. We'll just have to disagree on that.
Yeah.
And we do rely on guest workers for a lot of farming on the West Coast.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I grew up in an area where they had a lot of migrant workers working in factories because, during like harvest seasons and parts of the year, there were just not enough workers because the local population wasn't big enough.
Yep. And so there are some people who are like, no, we just need to close the border. The fruit will pick itself. Sure.
Well, yeah, most that's automated these days, but yeah, there is always guest worker programs. There have been for a very long time, and it's not that hard to sign up for them.
Nope. The only problem is when you're done with the guest work, you need to go to fuck home. That's where we run into an issue. Yeah. That's why with these fucking Democrats, who's going to pick our fruit? Same people have been doing it all along. The legal workers who come across with a guest worker pass.
Yeah. The problem is they don't want to pay them the wages that they're paying the guest workers because the illegals will work for pennies on the dollar. The guest workers won't because they're going to take that money home with them.
All right. I don't know if there's anything else we need to listen to from this asshole, but let's see.
He's declared a war on culture, on history, on science, on knowledge itself, database.
Hey, Gavin, what's a woman? Trump's declared a war on science. What's a woman, dude?
Is quite literally are vanishing. He's delegitimizing news organizations, and he's
Trump is the one delegitimizing the news organizations. We just watched the CNN anchor at the beginning of this show tell us about the city of Northern Virginia.
Now, if there was actually a city called Northern Virginia, it'd be fine, but
there's not.
No.
There's a best-selling book out right now about how the media missed the president having no brain.
Well, I mean, maybe they really are just that dumb.
Trump isn't delegitimizing him. He's just pointing out what a joke they are and have been for a long time.
Yeah, because somehow when he started running, they all lost their goddamn minds.
How many times do we have to go over Smollett and January 6th and Covington kids, and COVID in its entirety, ivermectin, lab leak. No, it came from a wet market in Wuhan. There's literally no proof of that, but we know it came from there. Because your hero, the magical terror gnome, was involved in actually spreading that shit.
And all these people owe an apology to the pangolins.
Yes, absolutely.
Pangolins did nothing wrong. I'm saying it now.
Yeah, the one that they can tie to pangolins was the original SARS and didn't even kill that many people.
Yeah, it was like, what, less than 100?
No, it was like 700. It's less than 1,000 that died, less than 10,000 that got it. It was still, of the people who got it, it was a large number who died, like 10%.
Yeah, they were mostly Chinese, though, right?
Yes.
So
and it was
in China, that's nobody got it, so barely anybody died.
It was quelled very quickly, and it was not a big deal. And then the magical terror gnome is like, I can make it better because it might happen one day.
But by creating it, apparently. He did enjoy the bathhouse research for the AIDS.
Yeah. Thank you, Dangerous Spaces. Trump won the popular vote. The EC, the House, the Senate, won every swing state, flipped several counties, and increased the vote in thousands more. The media, people don't like what Trump's doing. What? Yeah. Look at what's going on right now with California and these riots. They're like, the people will not stand for this, and everybody's going, this is what I voted for, asshole.
Yeah, it is remarkably quiet out there tonight too.
And the press is still like, we don't understand it. And Gavin here, what an asshole.
He really is just like a fart. Very unwelcome, something smelly about him. And you don't trust him.
That bear on the flag has a whole different meaning with Gavin standing in front of it.
Yeah, it does.
Assaulting the First Amendment and the threat of defunding them. At threat, he's dictating what universities themselves can teach. He's
it's not quite like you want anti-Semitism. That's a bold stance, man. Especially when you're in California.
The free speech argument there is a little weird because typically when we've seen people point out that these universities don't have free speech, and we point out that, hey, you can cut their federal funding and they get sued and shit, it's because they take federal funding, so they have to grant free speech. However, you can attach strings to federal funding.
They've been doing it for ages with speed limits and seatbelt laws, crap like that.
And it's so amazing to me that they're actually making the argument, no, we should be allowed to be anti-Semitic, which, by the way, I think you should be allowed to be. I don't agree with you. I think you're a douche if you blame everything on the Jews. You're just a pathetic fucking loser who's too incapable of making their life better, so you got to find something, and there's a little guy there, so you're like, it was the Jews.
Well, some people find comfort in having a group to blame.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be true to them. So,
but here's my problem with it. Try going to the same campus where you're like, you should be allowed to hate Jews and hate on Muslims, and see how quick you're kicked out.
Yep.
Go there and say women shouldn't have the right to vote. See how quickly you're kicked out.
Well, they can hate all they want, but we don't have to pay for it.
Yep.
And it's amazing how a place like Harvard, with their massive endowment bankroll of like $56 billion, is pissing and moaning about Trump threatening to pull their funding and the student visas of anti-Semites.
Here, fund it yourself. You can say whatever you want. The only time that the free speech part kicks in on a college is if they're taking federal money. Get rid of the federal money. You can be as Jew-hating as you like.
Yeah. And it's interesting that Harvard takes in a shocking number of Chinese nationals, too.
Weird, ain't it?
Yeah, it's almost like there might be some kind of connection there that should be looked into.
Targeting law firms and the judicial branch that are the foundations of an orderly and civil society. He's calling for a sitting governor to be a
This motherfucker. Oh, we'll get to that in just a second. Hang on, we'll back that up. This motherfucker. This is a presidential commercial.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah.
This is a campaign commercial.
It's a poorly thought out one, but it is. Yeah.
Which is weird because when he runs in 2028, he's not going to run against Trump.
No, he'd probably be running against Vance. By the way, right here, he looks like a geriatric vampire who has dentures in instead of fangs.
I think the Republicans, for right now, if an election were held today, Vance is probably the strongest person in the candidate field.
Yeah, I would agree.
And not because of what he's done so far, but because he really is a good speaker.
Yeah.
And people underestimate the shit out of him.
It's weird how much they do. I'm starting to actually like Vance. I was a little on the fence about him during the election, but he's grown on me quite a bit.
I remember his Senate election and us talking about him then, and he was kind of a doofus then.
Yeah. He's gotten a lot more savvy, and he's clearly learned quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, I think he probably is one of the best candidates possible right now.
Yeah, Gavin would get his ass absolutely whipped.
Gavin would do
Jariah,
well. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Jariah, thank you. Intersectional groupthink only works when you have one hated group everyone else can attack without consequences, or it all falls apart.
Yeah, worked well for the Nazis.
That's why white men are the target right now, because it's easy for everybody to hate us.
Yeah.
Our ancestors gave y'all some good ammunition.
Yeah. No, I think Gavin Newsom would win the West Coast and some of New England, and that would be about it. It would not be enough to win. He's going to lose all over the Midwest and like places like Texas, Utah, even Colorado. I think would really go for him.
He comes off as slimy, where JD comes off as much more personable.
Yeah, JD's a lot more genuine. Gavin looks highly produced. He's got that sleazy car salesman feel. And he's kind of like Joel Osteen. Something about him, whether it's his goofy hairdo or whatever, but there's something about him that I just can't bring myself to trust.
Yeah.
He's very fake and disingenuous.
Foundations of an orderly and civil society. He's calling for a sitting governor to be arrested for no other reason than to, in his own words, for getting elected.
Donald Trump said he's going to arrest a governor for getting elected.
I suspect there's some kind of greater context there.
I saw Gavin whining that Trump said he was going to arrest him, and Trump, it did not say that he was going to arrest him. Trump was asked about, was it Homan? Somebody who works for Trump said that Gavin should be arrested or something to that effect, and Trump was asked about it, and he goes, "Yeah, I mean, sure." I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. And then he said, Gavin's doing a shit job.
Gavin is doing a shit job to the point where he is running interference against the federal authorities on a matter of national security. So I don't have a problem if he does get arrested, because I think he probably is guilty of some crimes against the country. Mayor Bass definitely is. She's trying really hard to be obstructionist, but they're not going to do that. Please do it.
I see the arguments for doing it, but it's very much like arresting a president. I mean,
yeah, it's just
it's something
not a
you
winning
do.
Idea.
Yeah.
Like, they better have a kick-ass case for that to happen.
Sure.
He's ordering our American heroes, the United States military, and forcing them to put on a vulgar display to celebrate his birthday. Just
What?
This is a Democrat talking point. Because the birthday of the Marines is around Trump's birthday, they're saying that the parade for the Marines, what is it, their 200th or something like that, birthday? Trump's doing it for his birthday. 250th. Thank you. 250th anniversary of the beginning of the Marine Corps.
I suspect he's doing it because he actually does like the troops, unlike the Democrats who are posers. Trump's a big military fan. He really does respect them. So if he wants to have a little parade for him, who fucking cares? This is not North Korea. They keep trying to make him sound like he's Kim Jong-un.
Yes, let's see. What is the actual birthday of the Marines? I don't know when this parade is going to take place.
It's probably going to be on a holiday.
Yeah, but anyway, the whole nonsense about this being about his birthday has been over and over and over again debunked.
Of course.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the Army's birthday, not the Marines. My bad.
Whatever. Who cares? They want to have a military parade. I don't really give a shit.
But no, they're like, this is for his birthday. No, it's not. It's not.
That's silly.
As other failed dictators have done in the past. Look, this isn't just about protests here in Los Angeles. When Donald Trump sought blanket authority to commandeer the National Guard, he made that order apply to every state in this nation.
Yeah, he's the president of the commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
And he can call up the guard at will.
Yeah, that's kind of within the purview of the commander-in-chief, right? Like that chief is the leader. Isn't that how that works? I don't know how he's not grasping the concept here.
Thank you, Jariah. Gavin is the literal ruling over the ashes argument. California, his state burned down. They couldn't fill up hydrants, and Bass fucked off. Well, in fairness, she'd fucked off before the fire started. But she didn't return immediately either.
Yeah, Lori Lightfoot did the same thing in Chicago when they were having problems.
This is about all of us. This is about you. California may be first, but it clearly will not end here.
From your lips to God's ears, sir.
Yeah, like, oh, they're going to deport the illegals around the country? Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This makes me wish I was a younger single man, Jack, because I would be out there fucking with the protesters, if I'm honest.
States are next. Democracy is next. Democracy is under assault before our eyes. This moment.
Good thing we live in a republic.
There's no assault on democracy here. The president, who is democratically elected, is carrying out his duties. I don't know what your problem is.
See, I would disagree with you right there because democracy is mob rule. And that's what he's fighting for. And that's what Trump's trying to stop.
But no, he's not fighting for mob rule because mob rule would have him on the winning side. The mob is against them.
No, the voters are against them. Gavin's with the mob
tomato.
Criminals.
Tomato. I mean,
yeah, that's fair. I mean, you could flex it both ways. I'm just saying, Gavin doesn't understand what he's doing. And again, every time you pause, it looks like he's giving somebody a blowjob.
He's basically arguing for the power of the minority here.
You mean like apartheid?
No, like the tyranny of the minority that the founders were worried about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Moment we have feared has arrived. He's taking a wrecking ball to our founding fathers' historic project. 3.
All right. Whoever makes the AI, he came in like a wrecking ball music video, please tag me in it.
The founders wanted to keep people who are in the country illegally protected.
Right. Sure, dude. Let's just rewrite all of history.
I'm going to need you to help me out here again, because were the founders horrible colonizers who destroyed indigenous populations, or would they be offended at what Trump's doing? Because it literally can't be both.
Oh, but it can be, because he's a silver-tongued piece of shit. So they bend and flex to his whimsies.
When they say democracy, where's that? I assume they mean bureaucracy, which is closer to where. No. They mean democracy. They just don't know what democracy means. In their world, democracy means whatever I think.
Yeah. When you hear a leftist like this say democracy, just think communism, because that's what they mean. They mean collectivism.
It's amazing how many things we've seen are a danger to our democracy when none of them have been.
No, they're a danger to leftist ideology. That's what it really means. It breaks down into, but we want communism.
Thank you, Michael. Evening Monk. The protest, YouTube doesn't like the riot word, sure have been entertaining. Back to the start. They've been kind of boring to me. I want more pepper balls.
Yeah, it's been kind of quiet. Hopefully by this weekend it'll kick up a notch. I'm seeing a lot. I'm watching an aggregate with like 9 screens, and it's just a bunch of cops standing around being annoyed.
Well, because there's a curfew in effect.
Yeah, and apparently Antifa doesn't violate curfews.
If Bass had done this, well, again, Antifa's always been a small part of these things.
Yeah,
they just whip the mob up into a frenzy.
Oh yeah, they're the violent faction.
Bass could have stopped all of this on night 1 with a curfew.
She didn't want to do that though. They enjoy this stuff. They thrive on chaos.
Co-equal branches of independent government. There are no longer any checks and balances. Congress is nowhere to be found. Speaker John.
What do you expect Congress to do? I've read the Constitution many times.
Oh.
And when it comes to calling up the military, they do have the power to declare war, but this isn't a declare war situation.
No, this is not that level yet.
There's literally nothing for them to be doing here.
They should be impeaching Trump, right? Orange Man bad? Orange Man's bad.
And that says, I need you to start over. You made me sleep. I would feel bad for you if I didn't know you used me as a sleep aid, lady.
Also, do you really want to be awake to hear Gavin Newsom talk?
No,
we really don't either.
It's a necessary evil so they can hear my beautiful voice.
Oh, yeah.
I don't blame you guys for wanting to hear it. I love hearing it myself.
It's true.
As you might have noticed.
Indeed.
Johnson has completely abdicated that responsibility. The rule of law has increasingly been given way to the rule of Don. The founding fathers, they didn't live and die to see this kind of moment. It's time for all of us to stand up. Justice.
Washington got so annoyed that Congress didn't just do what he wanted the first time he gave them an address that he didn't do it again. That's a real thing. Look it up. He went to Congress and just expected them to rubber stamp him, and they were like, "No, we got our own things we want to talk about," and he got pissed off and didn't go back to Congress.
I get it.
Brandeis.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Monkey's gone.
There it is.
There he is. Oh.
I could hear you before you could hear me. It's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
Now my internet's pissing me off because I've already heard what he says for the next couple of seconds, and now I got to listen to it again. Son of a bitch.
It's time for all of us to stand up. Justice Brandeis, he said it best. In a democracy, the most important office, with all due respect, Mr. President, is not the presidency, and it's certainly not governor. The most important office is office of citizen.
That's
Citizen
not an office.
Isn't an office. The most important office should be governor, but Lincoln fucked that all up, so it is the presidency.
Now, to be fair, what he said was incredibly ableist. We have to stand up. Not everybody can stand. You're mean to Governor Abbott, you cock.
You know what's funny? I had that same thought.
We deal with these clowns way too much, man.
At this moment, we all need to stand up and be held to account, a higher level of accountability.
Founders believed in laws, sir. It's why they passed them.
Yeah.
If you exercise your First Amendment rights, please do it peacefully.
If you're not doing it peacefully, you are not exercising your First Amendment rights.
Yeah, it very specifically says peaceful. So
I know many of you are feeling deep anxiety, stress, and fear, but I want you to know that you are the antidote to that fear and that anxiety. What Donald
You just told them to be afraid. You literally said the moment we feared is here.
yeah, and he was saying how everybody has to stand up. Oh, but do it peacefully. Pick a lane, dude.
Trump wants most is your fealty, your silence to be complicit in this moment.
You mean like Biden did too? Or
says, do not give in. Go fuck yourself, dude. I'm just going to be honest with you, Gavin. I'm on Trump's side here. And you can't just say, oh, you're with Trump on everything, because that's not me. You're thinking of other people.
Yeah. That's the wrong show you're watching.
I do believe that Trump can and often is wrong, but he's not in this case, Jack.
Nope. I think he's actually handling it a lot better than I would be.
Jack, we have some special video for this next part.
Yay!
We often hear about the illegals picking fruit, and here we get to actually see it as they loot an Apple store.
Oh, look at that. They're just in it for the apples, guys.
They're just hungry. They're
Yeah.
trying to keep our food bills down by picking our fruit for us.
Yeah, they're like, there's some Macintosh. Let's go pick it for free. And that's what they're doing.
A pretty nice voice, Monk. Well, thank you. What's that?
Put my phone.
Hang on. I need to turn the fucking volume off on that. Say again?
They're putting the I in iPhone.
Oh. No, man. They look, man, they care so much about illegals being deported that they had to steal phones.
Yeah, I saw them stealing a sneaker or looting a sneaker store earlier from last night. And I have to say, it's very nice of them to redistribute the running shoe wealth. I have no doubt they're giving them to charity to help the newcomers or whatever we're calling them now.
I'm just really happy that they're stealing the shoes and iPhones that I won't steal.
Yeah, it is a job Americans typically won't do, which is looting. Occasionally they do, but it's fairly rare statistically for Americans to be doing that. So, yeah, another job Americans are just ashamed to do.
We're too lazy to do it, and we don't want to do it because it's hard work. Yeah.
Yeah, burning down your own neighborhood, that's a lot of work.
All right. Finally tonight, I know you got a couple there, but we're already at the 2.5 hour mark, and I am so fucking tired. I just want to highlight this. Oh no, you know what? I want to highlight the other one first because it's better. Oh, did I? I don't think I retweeted that. Damn it. We might have to watch The Ugly Bitch. That chick is supposedly in the armed forces, in her uniform, talking to the reporters. How do I put this? Saying horrible things about the commander-in-chief and the ongoing mission there.
Isn't that a no-no?
That is a major no-no in the armed forces.
Oh, major. Wow.
Yeah, like major as in you can get kicked out over it depending on how far you go.
Leavenworth. Oh.
Somebody put out that maybe she was doing that on purpose to get a general discharge. And I'm like, if she is, then unless the military has changed a lot, she's not getting a general discharge over that. She's
that'd be dishonorable.
Yeah, that would be a dishonorable. Can I find this? Goddamn. Tonight of all nights, people decide to post a lot. Fuck,
yeah, it's been a busy Twitter day.
Yeah.
That's why I'm behind on everything.
There's a guy who's doing an on-the-ground reporting thing, citizen journalism stuff. And as soon as he starts, somebody comes up and kicks him in the back.
Wow, that's rude.
Yeah. God, why can't I find this? I don't remember the guy's name. Oh, wait. What? I did not click on that. I looked up his name because they found this guy pretty quick because his dumbass has an Instagram with his face on it. Whoopsie. And his brother has a YouTube channel, Jack.
Of course.
His brother was there with him during this. And, this should lead me to the video. There it is. Haha. Sometimes I accidentally do good stuff. And share. There we go. I'm not familiar with this guy. I'm not on his side or whatever. 710KNUS. I don't know who he is.
Never heard of him.
I don't know how much volume we need for this.
Jeff Hunt, 710K in US, right in the middle of the No Ice Parade.
That right there was him getting kicked in the back.
What are you here for? I'm going to call the police. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're going to get brought up on assault charges.
Look at his mouth. That smile's gone. Oh, I don't know if you guys can see it very well.
Yeah, they never liked being caught because he's a sucker punching pussy.
His dumb ass doesn't even have his face covered. And he's and you walk up to him smiling like, "Hey, pal, what's up?"
Looking like Clint Howard in that picture. Jeez.
Yeah, he's not an attractive man. When I saw them, my first thought was, I bet they've heard a lot of stories about how their mom and dad were in love when they were. Just going to throw that out there.
It's always sad to see these pussy little bitches try to act all tough until they get caught.
There's no way this guy does this on an average day. He does it in the middle of a crowd that is on his side.
Yep.
Kicks a man in the, but didn't even have the balls to kick him in the front. I hate people like this. He's got a good assault charge coming to him. See right here on his arm there, Jack?
Yeah.
There's a recognizable tattoo, which, by the way, is on his social media profiles, which have his real name on them. Let's see.
You're out there putting your name out there and you do this dumb shit? You deserve to go to jail, you idiot.
Yep. You're on camera assaulting somebody, you dumb motherfucker. And that crowd around you that's like, you're so cool, they're not going to be there for you when you're getting your record.
They never are. They won't show up to court for you. And no girl's gonna touch your pee-pee tonight, dude.
His retarded brother back here recently graduated from journalism school, Jack.
That figures.
You know, those unbiased journalists hanging out at the anti-ICE rally. Not to document it. There's no camera or anything with him. I read his LinkedIn. He wants to work in the film industry there in Colorado.
There's a film industry in Colorado?
Apparently, and he went to journalism school to go work in the film industry.
Yeah, I've not really seen the connection there, but, you know, whatever.
I just imagine somebody looking through resumes and, you know, you got media training, journalism school, media training, media. Which one should we take for our media job? Oh, what a moron. Anyway, yeah, so that's the kind of non-violent protest we're seeing, Jack. Bunch of cowards, man. Uh-oh, am I still here?
Yeah, you're still
okay.
Yeah. The assassin said that lady violated DOD Directive 1344.10, no political speech in uniform. Yep. I knew there was something along those lines, but so we've got a traitorous military girl, allegedly, and we've got a sucker kicking pussy.
She's either violating that or she's violating the laws against stolen valor.
Yeah, well, maybe she's related to Blumenthal.
Yeah, and unlike when Biden was letting generals give their political opinion on trans folks, Trump ain't going to put up with this shit. If she's actually either in the Guard or in the military proper, an enlisted person, she's not going to be anymore.
Well, Trump's going to make examples out of people, and you don't want to be the first because they always get the hard sentences.
Not to mention, it's just douchey to do.
Yeah, well, you know, people are stupid. You could have just said you were in the military. You didn't have to wear your uniform.
Yep.
Don't disgrace the uniform.
She didn't have to even mention the military. She can just go out there and give her fucking opinion.
Yeah.
But when you're in the military, believe it or not, guys, you do give up certain rights like free speech. It's same thing with like the Hatch Act for people in federal office and stuff. There are times that no, you don't get free speech because you're seen as representing the country.
Yeah.
So you have to take that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I stepped on you there. Go ahead.
There's times where you have to go, nope, I am representing the office right now. So I'm going to give that line. When I'm in my civvies and off the clock, I'll give you my opinion.
Yeah. TOS said she's looking at an other than honorable discharge, and Assassin said she could get a bad conduct discharge, which is below dishonorable. I didn't know there was anything below dishonorable, but yeah, bad conduct. See, you don't want that kind of record. You're never going to be able to use that on your resume. You're never going to be able to say, look, I did my service, because if they find out you were a douchebag, nobody wants to be around that. No. You got kicked out of the military. That's actually not that easy from what I understand. Like,
not anymore. No, you have to try. So yeah, if she's actually in service, she's not going to be. Hegseth will definitely make an example of her.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. They have to set a standard and say, you can't do this. There are consequences for your actions.
Yep. But with that, guys, we're going to wrap up here for the night. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. Thank you for the donations. You're so kind. Anything you want to show, my friend?
I got nothing. But thank you guys so much for the donations and coming out and watching the show. You guys are awesome. We have really good turnout last couple of shows, and it's been really fun. I love riot season, where we can laugh at these tards and laugh at the California governor.
I just wish we got a better class of trolls. The ones who keep showing up are more retarded than Newsom.
Yeah, it's amateur hour. It's kind of, they got to start somewhere, I guess. So I guess we're popping their cherry.
Well, their mom's probably being banged right now by somebody she's never met.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to do it.
A pleasure as always, my friend.
Always glad to be here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we love you. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye everybody.
I've been working on. I don't know.